I was cleaning a house with some friends, and he said it, and I laughed out loud, and my friend looked at me like I was kind of crazy, so I let him listen to it. And then he really thought I was crazy. Let me share it with you. Hey there. I'm going to do something different this week. We're going to do a book review on this book right here. If you would like to see more different reviews on resources that might be helpful to you, will you click the like button and let me know? And if you're interested in continuing to get videos about domestic violence, sexual assault, and stalking, and resources related to those things, hit subscribe so that you don't miss a video, and hit the notification bell so that you're notified as soon as I post them every week. Thanks.
Powerful. Your things are as powerful.
And really quick, as we start off this, I'm going to just run through the chapters of this book with you, and then we'll get into actually talking about them. So, the author, C.R. Jan, features a unique personal introduction, which sold me on the book. 2, the basics. 3, good stuff to have. 4, a harsh truth. 5, out and about. 6, in your car. 7, in your home. 8, pepper spray. 9, hawkbill. 10, snubby. 11, tooth and claw. And then 12, I don't know if it's actually considered a chapter, it's called Afterward. And it's basically just a message to his readers, even though the whole thing is written in conversational tone. He cusses in this, if you didn't get that from the title, but he's just super down to earth and relatable and practical and funny, but serious. I don't feel like I could have gotten a better book to talk about such serious subject matter that was real important information in a way that I would take it as well as what he did. In fact, I quoted or I referenced this book a few different times, maybe several different times, in the book that I wrote, because I believe the information in this book is that good. It's important for all women. I said that his introduction sold me, and then of course the rest of the book sold me. To me, perspective is important, vital even. To me, a fresh out of college counselor is not going to have the benefit of 20 years of wisdom and experience that somebody who's been practicing it for 20 years is going to. Their perspectives are going to be different, you know? The perspective of somebody who is a single parent versus somebody who isn't. Somebody who isn't going to be able to talk to me about what it's like to be a single parent because their perspective is different, as well-meaning and kind-hearted as they might be. Likewise, somebody who trains in violence, like somebody who trains martial arts at the YMCA, but doesn't ever use their skills outside of the dojo, is not going to be able to give me the information that I need to fight for my life when I was afraid that my life was in danger, when I was being hunted and stalked and my life was in danger and my kids' lives were in danger. That cute little self-defense class that you can take at the Y wasn't going to cut it for me. I'm going to read you a quote to give you an idea of his personality. Hi, my name is Captain Hook. I'm not a martial artist or a policeman. In fact, some of those folks seem to think that I'm a bad guy who you probably shouldn't listen to. And they might well be right. Sure, I'll be the bad guy if you want to label me as such. After all, I'm a biker. I've been known to break the law on occasion. My appearance seems to scare people, and I jokingly state hook-handed psychopath when asked to disclose my occupation. I mean, really, how could you not trust that? Or at least enjoy it. Between that introduction and the title, I knew that I had found a great resource for me personally. An added bonus for me was that the audiobook is actually read by a woman. Not only is it entertaining to hear his sense of humor come through a female voice, but there's something very trustworthy to me about a man who's willing to give the microphone to a woman in a situation like this. He knew that a woman who's afraid for her life from a man might not trust a man to be the person that's going to help her. So he gave it to a woman to do. That was awesome to me. So between that introduction and the title, I was sold, or hooked, you might say. In the chapter The Basics, he talks to women about being aware of their surroundings and gives them permission to not be nice to everyone, which is not what we're generally taught in America. Here's another quote from him. If you have done everything correctly and the creep is still pestering you and he is either following close behind you or somehow barring your exit, be prepared, willing, and able to hurt him, because you might well have to. And he talks about personal boundaries. Good Stuff to Have is a short chapter about things that you should carry with you that are going to maximize your safety. In The Harsh Truth, Jan is really frank with women about how the choices that they make can make them more vulnerable to violence. Even though he started that chapter by prefacing that he's going to make some readers mad, I really appreciated this chapter. And let me tell you why. If it's completely out of our control, there's no need for this book. There's no need for my book. There's no need for these videos or any other resources. What's the point? All of those things, all of those resources are created under the belief that we do have something to say about it. We do have some kind of control. We create those resources based on the belief that we can improve our circumstances and we can improve ourselves. That's why we're here. That being said, I'd like to quote the caveat that he gave because I agree with it too. Listen to me now. If you were attacked, it is not your fault. If the attacker did not cross ethical boundaries and violate the law, the attack never would have happened. It does not matter how you were dressed, where you were, what you were doing, or who you were with. No one ever deserves to be victimized in any way. And the blame falls totally on the perpetrator, never the victim. You were never to blame if you have been attacked because the perpetrator had to take advantage of a situation in order for an attack to happen. They crossed that line. They did the bad. They are responsible. But if we get out of the mindset of this person's evil and this person's not, then we can get into the mindset that's going to actually give you some power and help you in any situation. Be smart. Are you at fault if you get raped by walking down a dark alley by yourself? No, because that person still had to do that. They had to cross that line. They knew it was wrong. They broke the law. They broke moral ethics. They are wrong, period. But you can help yourself lessen the chance of getting raped in a dark alley by not walking down a dark alley by yourself, right? It doesn't take away the blame, but it gives you some power and control in your life, and that's the point. The chapter Out and About is pretty self-explanatory by the title. Jan talks to women about what they can do to stay safe while they're out and about, living their life. Likewise, the next chapter, In Your Car, talks about good things to keep in your car. He talks about good behavior that's going to keep you safer while in your car. And he also talks about how to be safe if you're being pursued in your car, like in a car chase. The other topic that he covers in that chapter, though, is hunting, where the perpetrator is the hunter and you are the prey, which makes sense considering that he's talking about car chases too. I have certainly known what it feels like to be the prey and to be hunted by another person. In fact, that's the situation that I was in when I found this book in the first place. The chapter In Your Home is very practical home defense information. Not only wealthy people need to be safe, and some of us can't afford to have some top-notch bells and whistles home alarm system. One of the things that I really appreciate about this book is that he's very practical in the advice that he gives. And related to home safety, I want to share with you a quote here that I shared part of in my book because it's relevant to my particular audience. One disturbing fact that you need to be aware of is that statistically, you are far more likely to be attacked or killed in your home by somebody that you know, rather than a stranger. The vast majority of the time, it's a boyfriend, domestic partner, or a roommate. Sometimes it's a date or a friend of a friend who seemed to be initially harmless and safe. Even in the cases of actual home invasions, it is often a disgruntled and resentful ex. The chapters Pepper Spray, Hawkbill, and Snubby are all about self-defense weapons. They provide great recommendations from somebody who has actually been in violent situations and has used the weapons that he recommends. This section alone is invaluable. I mean, how much is it worth that you get to avoid being in fight after fight after fight or attack after attack, and you know, because he tells you, which weapons are good and which weapons are not? Can you imagine being in fights where the weapon sucks? This guy has already tested this stuff through his own life experience. That makes this book priceless already. And again, he's really practical here. If you don't happen to have a few $100s laying around to be able to buy a gun, it's pretty likely that you can get your hands on a tube sock and some D batteries. Tooth and Claw, the next chapter, is a gruesome chapter wherein Jan lays out what might have to happen if you are unarmed and you have to fight for your life. I appreciated this chapter too because he didn't pull any punches, and I really needed that. For example, in the event that she is facing multiple attackers, the chances of her being able to walk away from that if she is unarmed and untrained are very slight. That is why I give all of my female friends a knife. You know, he's pulling in his own personal experience and saying, look, your odds suck without some help. You need to be trained, you need experience, you need to be armed. But if all else fails, let me give you some tools. And for me, a woman who at the time of finding this book was a people pleaser to the highest degree, being given permission to defend myself was everything. And that brings us to my favorite quote out of this book. I still remember the first time that I heard this. I was listening to this book on audio through Audible, and I was cleaning a house with some friends, and he said it and I laughed out loud, and my friend looked at me like I was kind of crazy, so I let him listen to it. And then he really thought I was crazy. Let me share it with you. I truly hope that you never need to do this, but if you are pinned and cannot use your arms, it is your only real choice. And he's dead serious. No pun intended. Back to the quote. Bite off his... Son of a gun. Bite off his nose and spit it across the room. Then latch onto his throat. Zombie foo. It was so hard for me not to laugh when I was saying that. Zombie foo. Imagine me, a good Christian girl, a massive people pleaser, listening to Captain Hook tell me that it's okay to bite off my attacker's nose and spit it across the room, and then go for his throat with my teeth. That is the most blunt permission to protect myself that I have ever heard. And I found it funny. I mean, zombie foo. Come on, who wouldn't find that funny? One final note about the contents of this book. In addition to telling you how to be safe in very practical ways, Jan also addresses the fact that you can get into legal trouble for defending yourself too much. There is a difference between self-defense and what Jodie Foster's character in The Brave One acted out. So it's a good idea for you to be familiar with your local laws as far as self-defense goes. It has also been suggested to me that if you're in a situation where you think that there is a strong likelihood that you're going to need to use force to protect yourself, having a good attorney on retainer is a good plan. One final quote from C.R. Jan in his afterword. Captain Hook is on your side, and he wants you to be safe. You have the right to be safe, but predators do not respect the rights of others, and you need to have a clear understanding of how to use force to protect yourself from harm without falling victim to the courts as a result. Knowledge can be power, my friends. Know your rights, know the law, and what you need to do to protect yourself. Then take that a step farther and get to the point in your mind where you can actually do what you know you need to do in the event that you need to protect yourself. I said knowledge can be power. It can be power. But just like a gun in your pocket, if you aren't prepared to use it, can become a liability. Knowing what to do to protect yourself can actually make you more vulnerable if you're not willing to do it. Because it can give you this false sense of security that you're like, I know karate, I know how to kick, but I can go places that I shouldn't go because I got this. But in reality, people, generally speaking, have a moral compass, have ethics. If I haven't already posted the article yet on my Twitter, it's going to be on there this week, where Tim Larkin talks about your mindset in a violent situation. Most people look at it ethically and they go, what's right and what's wrong in this situation? And they go, who's the bad person and who's the good person? And if I use violence, am I a bad person? Because bad people use violence. Like, there's all kinds of psychological stuff that goes on for most people. And most of the people that are criminal minded, that you're going to deal with, that are violent, that pose a threat to you, they do not think that way. And that gives them the upper hand because they're not taking that split second time to consider the morality of it. They're just acting. And that split second time can be enough to get you on the ground. And when you're on the ground and they're over you, you stand a whole lot less chance of surviving. So this mental shift is no small thing. And that mental shift is not so much addressed in this book. It is really well addressed in Tim Larkin's When Violence is the Answer. And I'll do a book review on that at some point in the future too, because that book is excellent for the mentality. This book is excellent for giving you permission, for giving you practical tools and ideas to use to make or keep yourself safe. This book is extremely important. So what about you? Have you found any good resources that you can share? If so, list them in the comment section below. I'd like to be able to check them out, and other people that watch this video in the future can also be able to go down there and find other good resources if you have them. In this book, he talks about how there's like 100 different self-defense books out there. This was 2012 at the time. But he talks about there's like 100 different self-defense books out there, and there's like a handful of them that are good, but most of them are garbage. So if you found a good one, help us out and list that in the comments below. I'm going to leave an affiliate link in the description box. An affiliate link just means that I get a small commission if you choose to purchase this book through Amazon. It doesn't cost you anything extra. It's part of an Amazon program. But I just want to let you know I'm going to do that with a few different products that I recommend as a way to help me make money to be able to keep providing content and resources for you guys. That is it for me this week. If you have any questions about this book, let me know in the comment section. Otherwise, stay safe until I see you again.